Hi there, it's Alexa. I'm a student intern at undergraduate admissions. Here today we have Shakima Clency, who works in the Dean of Students office. If you could tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and usually where you are on campus.
Hi, Alexandra. It's great to chat with you today. My name is Shakima Clency. I use the pronoun she, her, and hers. And I am in the Dean of Students office, and I serve as the Associate Dean of Students for Student Empowerment and the Director of First Generation Low Income Student Support. I also have the opportunity to oversee the Dean of Students Diversity and Inclusion team, which includes colleagues in the Women's Resource Center, the LGBT Resource Center, the Asian American Resource Center, Undocumented DACA Student Support, the Office of Spirituality and Meaning Making, as well as Multicultural Student Leadership and Empowerment. I've been working at Cornell University for 3 years now, and my office is located in 626 Thurston. I'm upstairs on the 3rd floor.
So if you could tell me a little bit more about what you do in your role, that'd be great.
I am someone who identifies as a first generation college graduate. And through my work, I work to empower, to advocate, and help foster a sense of community among our first generation student population. At Cornell currently, in the class of 2024, roughly 15.5% of our students self-identify as first generation college students. And I really love working with this group because they're very diverse. They're represented in each of our different colleges and schools, and they bring so many strengths and assets and contribute to the college environment in so many ways. And they add to the richness of the Cornell student experience.
What are some, projects or initiatives or goals that you and your colleagues in student affairs, are working on for FGLI or first generation low income students on campus?
It's a departmental and university initiative to provide greater access for students who identify as first gen low income college students. And so 3 programs that I'm particularly involved with is the Kessler Presidential Scholars Program. This is a scholarship program that provides peer mentoring, that provides workshops, opportunities to engage with alumni, and helps to foster a community among a small group of first generation college students. And we provide support for them throughout their 4 years during their time at Cornell. In addition, for students who are not a part of the Kessler Presidential Scholars Program, my colleagues across the university and each college or school has staff devoted to supporting our diverse student populations. And so some students may receive an invitation to join the pre-freshman summer program. Some students may be enrolled in the HEOP EOP program. And some students may be a part of different initiatives in each college or school. And so I encourage students to seek out these resources, take advantage of them, and identify ways to enhance their social capital and also get connected to the university environment at large.
Thank you. Yeah, you've mentioned already some programs and some resources that are available to first gen students across campus. But I'm just wondering, what is a resource at Cornell that you think that more FGLI students, maybe should know about or should utilize more?
Well, I think it'll vary from person to person, depending on their experience and depending on their needs. But I definitely encourage all students, regardless of their identities or backgrounds, to take advantage of opportunities to build relationships with faculty members. That's really key in helping students learn more about their academic interests and possibly explore opportunities to be involved with undergraduate research or to get connected to a faculty member in some way. I also encourage students to take advantage of the resources provided through our writing center, opportunities to be engaged in possibly studying abroad or getting connected to the library support services. And then also recognizing that for some students, they may need financial support. And so one of the resources that I oversee is the Access Fund, and that provides support for students who may need additional resources that are not covered by financial aid. So there are an abundance of resources available, and I encourage students to seek them out, to take advantage of them, and to utilize them as the need opportunity presents itself.
I'm wondering too, how Cornell is specifically supporting FGLI students during COVID-19.
I think every college student, regardless of what institution that they're at, has experienced some instability as a result of COVID. And so at Cornell in particular, we quickly established and leveraged the Access Fund, which I spoke about previously, which provided support to help students depart from campus and also get access to resources to help with their remote learning from home. We welcomed students back to campus this fall and also established the Cornell Emergency Fund, which continued to provide support for students experiencing financial hardships as a result of COVID-19, and also provide an opportunity to help students get support for some unexpected expenses that they experience as a result of maybe not being able to find employment over the summer or because their family's financial situation had changed. And also students have been working with financial aid to sort of readjust their financial aid packages to take into consideration the limited means that maybe their parents were able to provide. And so I think it's important to recognize that we've been able to leverage some of the resources available at Cornell to help ensure that all students have access to the support that they need in order to continue on their academic journey.
Thank you so much, especially, since COVID has unfortunately disproportionately impacted students of marginalized backgrounds. And I guess I'm just wondering now, since you work in, for first generation and low income students, and also in, diversity and inclusion initiatives throughout the university, I'm wondering, how does social justice inform your work or inform the approach that you take to your work?
Mm. As someone who holds multiple marginalized identity, my lived experiences informs my work. And I work with a great group of colleagues in the Dean of Students office who've been really instrumental in helping support our students as they work to learn more about their identities, as well as the identities of folks who may be different than them. And a lot of this is really centered on the idea of encouraging students and colleagues, faculty and staff across the institution to explore the intersection of their own identities, as well as to learn more about the ways in which marginalized groups are experiencing discrimination, inequitable treatment, violence, and harm. As we continue to see what's going on in the news, unfortunately, we're at a time in which our Black and Brown community has continued to experience violence and discrimination. Our undocumented students are continuing to navigate difficult terrain that does not provide a pathway for citizenship, and that creates some obstacles. But then also recognize that we're in a society where this is a great opportunity for us to engage in these conversations across differences. It's so apparent that we need everyone to be involved in the conversation. We need folks with the greatest amount of power and proximity to power and privilege to recognize their roles in being allies and their roles in trying to help address some of these systemic issues, but then also to be advocates and allies for those people that they know, as well as people that they don't know. So at Cornell, we really try to help our students, faculty, staff, and community members recognize that we all play an important role in helping to address these issues.
That's super important. I mean, I can speak from personal experience that so many of the students I know are interested in social justice issues, regardless of their positionality, to the issues that are unfortunately systemic, in this country, in this world. And it's really great to know that it's not just the student body that's interested in advancing equity and social justice. We also have a great number of staff members here at Cornell that want to, encourage us and, do that alongside us too. So promoting equity, not just on our campus, but in our broader communities, has been a really important part of being a Cornell student, and not just our student body, but any member, for all members of the Cornell community. But the events of the last year have definitely elevated those conversations and those calls to action. Are there any things related to that you'd want to highlight or share with us?
It's a great question. Thanks for asking, Alessandra. Some of the things I recognize that are important for the Cornell community and in sort of advancing our diversity, equity, and inclusion goals is really fostering a strong sense of belonging among our students. And so recognizing that while we continue to advance new initiatives that help to foster a general sense of belonging for all members of the Cornell community, it's important to recognize that diversity and inclusion are interconnected to the total student experience. And so really thinking strategically and intentionally about ways to help all students, regardless of their backgrounds, regardless of their identities, to be involved and engaged through student leadership opportunities, to feel as though the academic content that they're introduced to reflects their experiences, as well as introduce them to different perspectives that really help students think more critically about their work and the ways in which they can contribute to society at large. And then also recognizing that the college experience is a unique opportunity for students to learn more about themselves, to learn more about others, and also to play an instrumental role in contributing to the betterment of society. And that includes the ways in which they treat their peers. That includes the ways in which they confront issues or situations that are counter to our efforts. And as I said previously, recognizing that we all have a role to play in this. This is not just the student's responsibility or just the administration's responsibility or just our faculty. And so continue to explore ways in which we can help students expand their own cultural competency and knowledge. And the Inter-Dialogue program at Cornell is a great opportunity for students in their first year to be engaged in these conversations across differences, the IDP program, but then also to build upon that throughout their time at Cornell and think about ways in which their involvement can contribute to more diverse exposure and opportunities through athletics, through sorority and fraternity life, through service opportunities, through traveling abroad. All of that contributes to our efforts. And I hope students immerse themselves in so many different ways and find opportunities to increase their diverse awareness, but then also increase their actions to help them create a more equitable community and society at large.
Going back to, specifically your work with FGLI students, you said that you enjoyed working with them, as someone who who identifies that way as well. I guess, do you have like a specific like favorite part or like an experience in that role that really stood out to you?
I would say, again, because each student's experience is unique, one of the highlights I would say stems from at the end of the year, providing our first gen students with their graduation courts. And that's something that's unique to the experience here at Cornell. It's an initiative where our first generation student union, which is a student run organization who had been instrumental in working to advance and advocate and foster a sense of community among our first gen students, they host an annual graduation celebration. And my office collaborates with them to sort of help make sure that the event is a success. And we have an opportunity to celebrate all of our first gen students. And so just remembering the ways in which the group has been able to come together and celebrate their accomplishments and highlight and recognize that this is a huge milestone in a young person's life. To come from a family where your parents or guardians did not have the opportunity to attend college, and seeing yourself accomplishing that goal and starting on your next journey of your life as a professional. Maybe you're going on to graduate school, maybe you're going on to do service in your community, but the ways in which this diploma represents a significant milestone in your life and also an opportunity to change the trajectory of your family's life. I think that's very inspiring. I think it's very empowering. And it's a testament to the hard work, the commitment, the dedication of students and their families to get them to that point. And so graduation is always a sweet time to celebrate our first gen students.
What piece of advice do you have for an incoming FGLI student at Cornell?
That's a great question, Alexandra. For students who are just beginning this journey, recognizing that for some students, they're in the position where they're deciding whether or not they want to attend Cornell. And I encourage them to ask themselves, can I see myself being successful here? And once they've made that decision, once they've made that commitment, to spend your time during the summer exploring what are some of the things you want to be involved with? What are some of your academic interests? And also think about what are the type of experiences that you want to gain. And throughout your time at Cornell, be really intentional and strategic about how you utilize your time and also how you build a social network. And so I encourage all students, particularly those students who identify as first generation college students, to form relationships with faculty members and alumni They can play an instrumental role in helping you achieve and accomplish some of your goals. Think about whether or not you want to study abroad or be engaged in undergraduate research, or whether or not you want to be involved in a particular student organization or do service in your community in the Ithaca area. So think about some of those opportunities. You don't have to make the decisions now, but as you continue to embark on your time at Cornell, as you go through your first semester and prepare to move into your residence hall if you're living on campus, and possibly share a room with someone who's a stranger that you've never had to do in the past, or you've done frequently because you grew up in a household where you shared a room with your younger sibling. But just think about those new experiences, be open to those new experiences, try to find ways to connect with people who have backgrounds different than your own. This is a part of the learning journey to learn more about yourself and your interests. You're going to find that your values and your beliefs may change as you come in contact with different people, and that's okay. That's a part of the growing and learning process. But then I also think it's important to stay grounded to your home community. And although your parents and family members may not have had the opportunity to attend college, they're in the background cheering you on and rooting you on, and they helped you get to this point. So continue to lean on them, continue to talk with them as you overcome obstacles and challenges, and also continue to celebrate with them as well. Another thing I would hope for students to think about is, why did you decide to go to college, right? If it's something that you did for someone else, that may not be enough of a motivating factor to help you at your work and to overcome obstacles, or to root you on as you're accomplishing your goals. So explore your why. Why are you here? Why did you decide to go to college? And let that be a motivating factor for you as you're exploring new opportunities and new experiences, as you're interacting with your peers inside and outside the classroom, as you're bouncing back from a grade that maybe you didn't like and you had hoped you did better, or maybe you mismanaged your time and you didn't submit an assignment on time, or you were staying up all night because you had some difficulties managing your time. So explore your why and help that be a motivating factor for you throughout your time here at Cornell.
If I may add, at least as a student, my biggest piece of advice is for anyone really, is just to not be afraid to reach out to people, whether it be like older students or staff or faculty. It's not a sign of weakness to reach out. It's a sign of maturity and a sign of strength. And
one of the things that I found is that our most successful students at Cornell are the ones who are willing to ask for help, those who are willing to take advantage of resources, and those who recognize that utilizing resources and asking for help are strategies to help you be successful, are strategies to help you maximize your time, are strategies to help you get what you want, right? So I definitely encourage students to take advantage of the resources, to ask for help, and definitely don't see it as a sign of weakness, but more so as a sign of strength and a sign of maturity.
You said everything I wanted to say in that. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today?
I guess as I'm closing and we're wrapping up our time here, for all students, regardless of if you identify as a first-generation college student or you come from a lower income background, recognize that this is a huge privilege to have the opportunity to go to college, right? Not everyone has that opportunity, and you've done something outstanding for the admissions team to identify you as someone to join the Cornell community. And so recognize that you have many assets and strengths, and you bring so much with you to the college environment. So congratulations, welcome to the Cornell family. And if you need any support, any way, shape, or form, I encourage you to reach out to the Dean of Students Office and my colleagues, to reach out to me, and reach out to any members of the Cornell community, which includes our faculty, our staff, your peers, to sort of help you navigate this new place and also explore all the richness of the Cornell experience.